you guys have any questions for Leah, you can definitely put those in the chat room there. But that's a lot of great topics because generational curses, man, if you think about different things throughout your life, through your parents' life, through their lives, through your grandparents' lives, and that's what one of my main focuses is too. I don't want my daughter to have to experience what I experienced. I want her to have a better life, a better view of life, and a better aspect. Absolutely. And depression too. I mean, people don't realize, and they think depression is just something you can just get over that. You just need to pray harder. You just need to be harder, and you'll get over it. But there's definitely a process there, and some people do truly deal with it, and it's not that easy to just say you'll just get over it.
Yeah, and it's not acceptable for us to say that we're not okay. You can probably think about how many times a day somebody asks you, "Hey, how you doing?" And you respond pretty much the same every day, every time somebody asks you, because it's just a social norm. But when someone asks you, "Hey, how you doing?" we're never honest. We're never truthful. And I actually have it's a title in the book of one of my writings called Mask, and I talk about that. And I sit and I literally pull apart all the pros and the cons to wearing a mask and creating this image, and trying to be that. I talk a great deal about it because inside, hiding behind it, nobody gets to water the actual soul of who you are. So it's like I talk about a lot of things in the book and it's all real. There's a lot of stories. Majority of it is my own personal experience, but there are some things in there that I didn't go through that I just saw from a bird's eye view, or it was just something that, maybe I read it, but I literally touch on so many things because I just wanted the book to be honest. So I sat and I collected a bunch of just pieces of things that people need to hear and that we should be able to have honest conversations about, and not feel guilty because we're questioning something or because we don't want to just do it because that's what we've always done, And it's like I just wanted to be a part of the change that I was looking for in my own life. I know how hard it was to find it because there wasn't really anything pointing me in the direction of healing. I had things pointing me every which a different direction. So, my hope with this was just that I could really sit there and just be honest, because we don't know the truth about a lot of things. Bad things happen to good people. You can do everything right and still get the wrong result. But it's like because we don't have honest conversations, we don't know how to gather ourselves after everything falls apart. Because we're too embarrassed to say that our life wasn't as good as we were, portraying or whatever the case may be. So I just kind of I gave myself permission, and it was a super powerful moment for me. And I was just, I'm just hoping that by just being transparent, that it'll give somebody else permission to do the same and free themselves from whatever, it is that burdens them or whatever it is standing between them and their happiness or just, whatever in general, whatever that is or whatever it means to people. Definitely. I was just trying to offer that support.
Definitely. And I think that's important. When people are able to read something, even for myself, I'm able to read something that somebody else has experienced or that someone else is going through, that gives me encouragement. And also that helps me see I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that's experiencing what's going on. But I want to go back to what you talked about. When people ask you, you just say you're fine. It's like our minds are programmed to say, I'm fine. You aren't really honest. Some people are. And those people do get seen as, well, you always have something wrong with you. But they're being honest. You ask the question, there are some people that are honest, but a lot of times the immediate reaction is, I'm doing fine. I'm fine. You're fine. I'm fine. Everybody's fine, but it's not true.
And most of the time when they ask you, it's not because they care.
Great point.
You know, and it's one of those things where it's just a constant cycle because it's just so messed up. You know, because if no one ever steps in and tries to intervene, we will self-sabotage until we can't anymore. You know, if we never have any extra support or any, you know, added encouragement or anything extra, you know, but it's like, it's not okay to say, hey, guys, I'm not okay. You know, I think I need to see a therapist, or I think I need to, but we wonder why our emotions and our feelings are what they are, but people are having real life experiences that they're, you know, you have to think that there, somewhere in the world, there is a family and they're, you know, the kids are being abused, but they're still smiling and grinning at the table in love with their parents. You know, or something is happening to them and someone is abusing them. So from the earliest of our experiences, we are taught to always be okay. You know, how many times, you know, as a kid, can you think of when you were crying and somebody was like, well, why are you crying? I can't cry. Right. You know, why can't I cry? Why can't I express that I'm unsatisfied with something or that I have feelings? You know, and it's like, so much of our comfort with our own feelings is entangled to other people's. You know, so it's like, well, I won't say how I really feel because I don't want to hurt my parents' feelings. Or, you know, I don't want my aunt to, you know, to know this or to know that. Or I don't want my cousin, I want to protect my cousin from all of this. But it's like, meanwhile, we will be living in dismay ourselves, protecting other people from our truth.
Right. And we have Leah, the writer, on the line. And that is, you see in so many documentaries, you think about superstars, people that have the lavish lives, they live in their dreams. And when they do their documentary and a lot of things, I'm going to talk specifically about Whitney Houston real quick. And I do see your question, Courtney. I will get to that here in just a minute. But I didn't know that she was abused by a family member. And we all have known Whitney Houston for like forever, but it talks about how she didn't want to say anything because she didn't want to hurt a different person, or she didn't want to tell who it was. And like stuff like that, we see a lot.
Absolutely.
We see a lot. And it is,
absolutely,
it's tragic. It's tragic. But I got a question here. Courtney Harden of the Real Deal podcast, he says, how was the writing process forming the book?
It was very difficult. I had always said that I was going to write the book, but, you know, well, in my experience, as I was navigating, because as I wrote this book, as you read it, you'll realize that I'm literally going through, like, I'm struggling. In this book, I felt every emotion. I went through every phase. Like, I went through everything to get to where I am. But it was really hard because I had to start telling the truth. And not just the truth that I had been telling myself. And, you know, it's not necessarily like I was just lying, but there were a lot of things that I just wasn't honest with myself about. But because I wasn't being honest with myself, you know, I was running around living something that wasn't real. And so the writing process was difficult because for the first time, I was honest about everything. And however I felt is what I said. I wasn't concerned with anyone else's feelings. I wasn't trying to make anyone else feel better. I was just trying to heal for myself. So it was difficult because of everything that I went through and having to peel back the layers of pain that I felt all of this time. But it was so relieving. The book it helped me heal so many things that I've chosen to keep in my life all of this time. But overall, it was incredible. I needed it. it was perfect timing, and I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah. And there is, there in the process and in doing a lot of things in life, in the process of doing something, there will be sometimes pain, maybe strife, maybe frustration. But when you get through, the end, and now you're at the point where the book's going to be published and it's going to be coming out, there has to be some type of joy or excitement with that, right?
And yeah, and I can be honest in saying, see, I'm that person. I'm very conscious of other people's thoughts and other people's opinions. And I'm also very aware of my own reputation. So when that was a huge con to me about writing the book. Because, as soon as you tell your story, people are going to want to go out and tell the world their side of the story. And that was alarming to me. That's cool for me. Because, it's really hard to sit and listen to somebody lie anyway. But that was my concern, was that my character would be demeaned, and then regarding a lot of the things that I never really dealt with, I felt a lot of shame. I was very disappointed in myself for a lot of the choices and decisions that I made, and the things that I allowed to happen to me, and the things that I allowed to be done. So I carry a lot of negative emotions about the experiences. And so because I carry so many negative emotions, it was hard for me. But once I wrote the book, and like as you read through it, you'll realize that my perspective on my trials in life today is completely different than it was in 2013. And for me, this book is powerful for that reason. Because I realized that because I acted like I had never been through anything, I could never give myself the conqueror title that I was deserving of. I've conquered everything that I've gone through. But I never could say that because I was too busy acting like I hadn't gone through anything. So this book really taught me that, if somebody is going to tell your story, whether that's today, tomorrow, at your funeral, someone is going to tell it. And for me, I just wanted it to be me. I wanted to take the power back and show myself that, I no longer was ashamed, because everything that I had gone through and grown through got me here. And as long as I share it, and women and men don't have to go through this, it gives me power knowing that I put out something that has the chance to make as much of an impact as it has on me.
Yes. And we have LeaTheWriter on the line. Book will be coming out very soon, entitled Diary of an Unorthodox GEMini. Let me give a couple of shout outs in the chat room. We got some new people that came in. Also, we have some other questions. We have DJ Chuck. We also have Shelly Q, who is also an author herself.
How you doing?
And we also have, I think that was only two, but I do have a question here from Miss Mocabella. She said, ask her, how did her family feel about the book? Did they know she was hurting?
Everything about this process I pretty much did in secret. Because I wanted it to remain what I wanted it to be. I knew that once I started to talk to other people about it, their opinions would sway how I felt about things, or the way that I released things, or the way that my family literally had no clue that I even write, because it's just usually something that I use to heal and soothe myself. And it wasn't until a couple of months ago that I decided to take it to another level. And when I decided that I really wanted to pursue it, I did it in silence because I wanted it to be pure. I wanted it to remain as positive as I could. And I felt like if no one knew that I was releasing the book, they couldn't combat it with negativity. So they really, they didn't have the opportunity to feel any type of way. I just recently told